The world of the Russian Bratva is often portrayed in films and stories as mysterious, dangerous, and powerful. Beneath the myths, there lies a structured hierarchy where individuals climb step by step through loyalty, risk, and sacrifice. Each level brings more power, but also greater danger and personal cost. This is a journey through the ranks, showing what life might look like at every stage. Level 1, the beginner, entering the underworld. Imagine being 16 years old in Moscow. The city feels enormous and unforgiving. You've dropped out of school, opportunities are limited, and each day feels like survival rather than progress. Jobs are scarce, and the future seems unclear. One cold morning, while standing outside a busy metro station, a stranger approaches you. He doesn't ask many questions. Instead, he offers a simple opportunity. If you want to make money, show up tomorrow at 6 in the morning. Curiosity and desperation lead you to accept. The next day you arrive at a quiet industrial area where a van is waiting. Inside are stolen car parts, engines, transmissions, electronic components stacked carefully like pieces of a hidden puzzle. No explanations are given. Your task is straightforward. Unload, carry, and follow instructions without speaking too much or asking questions. The work is physically exhausting. 14-hour shifts become normal. The environment feels tense, yet organized. At the end of the day, you receive cash, more money than you've ever earned before. The payment is immediate, tangible, and convincing enough to keep you coming back. Over the next several months, you perform small but important tasks. You move boxes, unload shipments, and help transport items between locations. Sometimes the cargo seems ordinary electronics or spare parts. Other times, it's clearly illegal, bootleg alcohol, counterfeit goods, or even weapons hidden under tarps. You quickly learn that curiosity is dangerous. Silence and obedience are valued far more than questions. Gradually, you begin to understand the unspoken rules. Reliability matters. Showing up on time matters. Not drawing attention matters. You are still at the bottom, barely aware of who is truly in charge, but your consistency makes you noticeable. One day, instead of the usual van, a luxury car arrives. Someone important has taken interest in you, and that changes everything. Level 2. The soldier, learning enforcement. By the age of 19, your role evolves. A local brigadier, a mid-level leader responsible for operations in the district, offers you a promotion. You are no longer just labor. You are now part of enforcement. Your responsibilities shift dramatically. Instead of moving cargo, you accompany others to meet people who owe money to the organization. These visits are rarely friendly. Many debtors beg for more time, explaining their struggles and failures. Sometimes your presence alone is enough to convince them to pay. Other times, intimidation becomes necessary. You learn how fear is used as a tool. The goal is not always violence, but reputation, making sure people understand the consequences of disobedience. The work begins to harden you emotionally. Situations that once felt shocking slowly become routine. At this level, you start seeing how the organization truly functions. You observe negotiations over territory, watch experienced members handle conflicts, and notice the quiet relationships between criminals and certain officials who look the other way. Every interaction becomes a lesson. Your identity begins to change. You are no longer simply following orders blindly. You are absorbing knowledge about power, control, and loyalty. The brigadier occasionally includes you in meetings, allowing you to observe how decisions are made. Trust grows slowly, earned through silence and reliability. You realize that you are no longer just muscle. You are being shaped, trained, and prepared for something bigger, even if you don't yet know exactly what that will be. Level 3. The brigadier, running operations. Years pass, and the quiet discipline you maintained begins to pay off. Your loyalty has never been questioned, and your silence has earned trust from those above you. Gradually, you are promoted into a leadership position. As a brigadier, your role changes completely. You are no longer following instructions, now you are the one giving them. Instead of handling street-level enforcement or small operations, you oversee complex smuggling networks. One of your main responsibilities involves coordinating the transport of stolen luxury vehicles across international borders. High-end brands like BMW, Mercedes, and Audi move through carefully planned routes, passing through multiple countries before reaching buyers in Russia. Each shipment represents massive profits, but also serious risks. Every decision carries consequences. Border security forces increase surveillance, law enforcement agencies track suspicious patterns, and rivals constantly look for opportunities to interfere. Even within the organization, betrayal is always a possibility. You learn to trust cautiously and verify everything twice. Your daily work becomes a combination of logistics and strategy. You organize drivers, arrange secure storage locations, and coordinate with contacts who help smooth border crossings. Routes are rotated frequently to avoid detection. Communication is handled carefully, often through intermediaries or coded language. When something goes wrong, a shipment seized, a driver arrested, or a deal threatened, you are responsible for resolving the situation quickly and quietly. The rewards are significant. Money flows steadily, allowing a lifestyle that once felt unimaginable. Yet success comes with constant pressure. Sleep becomes lighter, decisions become heavier, and the sense of being watched never fully disappears. Leadership brings power, but it also isolates you from the ordinary world. Level 4. The Strategist. Power behind the scenes. By your early 30s, your role evolves again. The organization recognizes your ability to think beyond immediate operations, and you are invited into the inner circle, a place where long-term decisions are made and the future direction of the group is shaped. Your environment changes dramatically. Instead of warehouses and street corners, meetings now take place in offices, restaurants, and private spaces where deals are discussed calmly but carry enormous consequences. The organization begins expanding into new industries, especially cybercrime and real estate, areas that promise higher profits with less visible risk. You are tasked with recruiting skilled individuals, including young hackers capable of launching ransomware attacks and online financial schemes. Rather than using threats immediately, you learn to negotiate partnerships, offering protection, resources, and access in exchange for a share of profits. The language becomes more professional, but the underlying power dynamics remain unchanged. At the same time, real estate ventures become another focus. The post-Soviet economic landscape creates opportunities, especially among vulnerable property owners unfamiliar with changing systems. Some deals are legitimate investments, others rely on pressure tactics designed to encourage quick sales at undervalued prices. Slowly, entire buildings and neighborhoods shift ownership, generating enormous returns. As profits grow, your image begins to transform. You no longer resemble the young recruit unloading cargo years ago. Instead, you appear more like a business executive wearing suits, attending negotiations, and managing investments. Yet, beneath the polished surface, the same ruthless structure continues to operate. You are no longer simply part of the machine. You are helping design it, shaping strategies that extend far beyond the streets. Level 5. The Vor v Zakone, Authority and Judgment. After decades immersed in the life, years marked by loyalty, risk, and silent endurance, you reach one of the highest and most respected positions within the hierarchy, becoming a Vor v Zakone, often translated as thief in law. This title is more than just a rank. It represents a symbol of authority, honor, and strict adherence to a deeply rooted criminal code that has shaped the organization for generations. Achieving this status means that your reputation has survived countless tests, prison sentences, internal conflicts, and the constant pressures of a dangerous world. The transition into this role fundamentally changes your daily life. You are no longer responsible for managing shipments, enforcing debts, or overseeing individual operations. Instead, you become an overseer, someone whose words carry influence across entire networks. Your primary responsibility is maintaining balance within the organization. Disputes between rival factions, disagreements over territory, and conflicts involving money or loyalty are brought before you for resolution. These decisions are rarely simple. Every judgment has consequences that ripple across the structure, affecting alliances, reputations, and sometimes lives. Members look to you for fairness and strength, expecting decisions that uphold tradition while protecting the organization's interests. In many ways, you become both judge and mediator, balancing personal relationships against the demands of the code. When betrayal occurs, the weight of leadership becomes especially clear. If someone violates the rules, whether through theft, cooperation with authorities, or disloyalty, it falls to you to determine their fate. These moments shift leadership away from the pursuit of wealth and toward responsibility. Power is no longer defined by how much you earn, but by how effectively you preserve order and enforce discipline. Yet this status comes with its own restrictions and sacrifices. Despite your authority, you remain bound by traditions that limit your personal freedom. Living openly becomes difficult. Legal ownership of property or public recognition can draw unwanted attention. Your existence continues in the shadows, defined by secrecy and caution. Respect surrounds you, but so does isolation. The higher you rise, the fewer people you can truly trust. Every decision, every alliance, and every move must be calculated carefully, because in this world, power and vulnerability often exist side by side. Level 6. The international operator, expanding globally. As pressure from authorities intensifies, remaining in Russia becomes impossible. You relocate abroad to financial hubs like Cyprus, a small island nation known for banking, business, and relative anonymity. From there, you coordinate operations across Europe, managing money laundering schemes, complex smuggling networks, and sophisticated cybercrime ventures. The scale of your influence grows far beyond anything you could have imagined as a teenager unloading boxes. Wealth accumulates rapidly, but it comes at a cost. Distance from home creates isolation. Family events, weddings, birthdays, milestones happen without you. You watch them through screens, missing the moments that once seemed ordinary. Safety becomes paramount, often replacing freedom. Success is real, but it feels like exile, a gilded cage where every move must be calculated and every contact scrutinized. Level 7. The hunted, living under threat. By your 50s, international law enforcement and intelligence agencies have caught up with you. Sanctions, asset freezes, and arrest warrants restrict your movements. Travel becomes a logistical challenge. Every decision carries risk. You settle in locations chosen for their lack of extradition agreements, constantly surrounded by armed security. Life in this stage is confined and tense. Rivals from past conflicts, betrayed allies, or ambitious upstarts may try to take advantage of any weakness. Trust is a rare commodity, and relationships must be weighed against survival. Every day you exist in a careful balance, wealth, influence, and safety maintained at the cost of freedom and normalcy. Level 8. The end. Survival is temporary. In the world of the Bratva, retirement is a concept that simply does not exist. Power, influence, and reputation are never safe. Every achievement attracts enemies, both from within the organization and outside it. Rivals wait for a moment of weakness, law enforcement tracks your every move, and betrayal can come from those you trust the most. The higher you climb, the sharper the risks, and the more permanent the consequences become. Eventually, every story reaches an ending. For some, it may come quietly, death from illness, accident, or the passage of time. For others, it is violent, abrupt, and public. Orchestrated attacks, poison, assassinations arranged by enemies, or even betrayal by someone within the organization. Often, the official explanation hides the truth. Obituaries may claim natural causes. Investigations may conclude without answers. Yet everyone in the network knows the reality. Even in death, the Bratva continues. The organization is larger than any one individual. Leaders are replaced seamlessly. Operations continue without interruption. And the hierarchy endures. The world outside barely notices. For those left behind, life goes on, a relentless machine where personal loss is subsumed into business and survival. Even the most powerful figures, whose names once carried fear and respect, are eventually replaced, leaving only the memory of their rise and the cautionary tales of their fall. In this world, nothing lasts forever. Prestige, wealth, and influence are temporary, and survival is the only constant. Every day lived is a negotiation with risk, and every choice carries weight far beyond what the average person could imagine. The journey through the Bratva is a brutal test of ambition, loyalty, and survival. Wealth, power, and respect come at the cost of isolation, danger, and fleeting trust. Success is temporary, safety is never guaranteed. and the end, whether sudden or inevitable, always looms. Power means little without endurance. Survival becomes the true measure of achievement. There is no retirement, no escape, only life in the shadows, where every decision carries weight. You endure as long as you can, because in this world, that is all you ever truly have. If you enjoyed this content and found it engaging, please do us a favor, subscribe, like, and share so that we can bring more exciting and in-depth stories like this to you in the future.